Well, having been a college professor for over 30 years, I have a number of friends who are millennials, so I could go talk to them about what hashtag adulting meant. And they said that, yeah, a lot of time it's people talking about stuff that their parents used to do for them and they don't anymore, and it's like it's a hassle. Okay. But they also acknowledged that it really meant taking on adult responsibilities, and that's hard. Now, that's all well and good, but the last 5 years of my teaching career were dealing with a lot of trigger warnings and safe spaces, and I supported that stuff. I mean, I think it's wonderful, and I did a lot of this. If someone's genuinely traumatized or has been discriminated against, having trigger warnings or safety spaces is important and valuable. But for the average college student, nice white middle-class kid, what's that about? Emotional safety, safe spaces? Because every time I think about that, I think about my dad at the same age 19, in a trench in Belgium after the coldest winter in 100 years, fighting at the Battle of the Bulge, and thinking a safe space means you don't die. Well, some of them did. The trench was hit with friendly fire, and as my dad put it, there wasn't a dry pair of pants in the trench, and his only use of his father's trench knife was to cut off his beshitted pants. And then most of the platoon got sent to Paris because they were all coming down with yellow jaundice because their livers were shutting down from the stress. Yeah, a lot of people didn't come back, but the ones that came back were men, not boys. My dad ended up being a minister, a campus minister, but he always wondered how a boy became a man without being in combat. His combat infantryman's badge was one of his favorite possessions. Now, he didn't want me to do that. He gave, tearful anti-war sermons and wouldn't have had me do that. But I have to wonder, what does happen? What is adulting or becoming an adult really about? But then I think about all those times, and my son, who's a millennial, told me about some of these, where you do something that has to be done and you want to do it. Well, I have a lot of those, I guess. I'm 66, so I'd hope I'd have a few. And one is one of the most painful times of my life, really. We had a adjunct professor, a good friend of ours, who was half-time and then 2/3 time. And then we finally got permission from the administration to hire a full-time person. The codicil was, it had to be a nationwide search. Well, Dylan, let's call her Dylan, it's a good name as anything, was an incredible teacher. She taught methods and stats. The students loved her. She was our great friend. Her kids and mine made a movie on Amelia Earhart together called To Kiss the Sky one summer. It's great. So she's our friend, and we wanted her to get the job. We went to a regional conference and started interviewing people, and she was as good as any of them. And we told her as much. We were very encouraging. And we scheduled her, presentations, her talks on campus. And then we got in the 200 or so candidates from nationwide. And she just wasn't competitive. There were teachers with awards, there were people with the research programs they could involve students with that had publication records. Well, we thought as a courtesy, we'd still have her do her presentation. We voted each candidate up or down. There's 5 people in the department. And Dylan has it scoped out. She said the 2 other women in the department would probably vote for her. The 2 senior men, 2 old guys, might vote against her, but I was her friend. She figured I was the deciding vote. And I was her friend. I was also the chair of the search committee. I was also a member of a department that had to consider generations of students, the quality of the department, the quality of the institution. And I can't tell you what the vote was. I'm still 3 years retired, but it's confidential. And there's 2 of my colleagues that are still working there. So it wasn't right to tell her either. But when the vote went against her, I said, I have to call her. I'm her friend. And I've been through a loss of a job before and bounced, but thank God I didn't get tenure at Penn State. So I called her on the phone. My stomach's turning around, and I thought I could talk her down, convince her that that might be for the best thing, convince her that this was, what the future had to offer her. And she was defensive and angry and felt betrayed. And I lost a friend. And I still feel that loss. But the hire was great. Dylan ended up getting retooled as a clinician and doing fine. So the outcomes were all fine. But I still miss that friendship. And I think that's something about what #adulting is about.